Hey everyone, I am so excited to share with you 2 upcoming opportunities to grow yourself personally and professionally. I've got 2 new virtual workshops that will be coming up in January 2021. You can choose either one of them. One of them really has a focus for personal and professional growth for women, and the other one is going to be a focus on time management, which is, I know it's one of the things that I hear so many people say is they need help with learning how to manage time better. And so both opportunities are going to be virtual via Zoom. That's a wonderful thing about technology, is we can reach people all over the place, all over the United States, all over the world, through virtual sessions that will help us grow. I'm going to be covering the material from a couple of my different books in each of these workshops, and you're going to get the copy of the book themselves when you register for the workshop. So 2 great opportunities coming up. I know you're interested in developing yourself in personal growth, and these are going to be some great opportunities to do that. So looking forward to seeing you all on the workshops. You can get details on both of them, find registration information, all that good stuff. Go to riastory.com/workshop. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode on making a difference. This is the 19th episode that I'm doing in a series on my book, Fearfully and Wonderfully Me, Become the Woman You Are Destined to Be. And we're wrapping up we're definitely getting toward the end of the series. And we're really, I've shared so much about setting yourself up for success in this series and developing yourself and reaching in your potential. And why we do all of that to begin with is because we're focusing on becoming the best version of ourselves so that we can make a difference in the life of someone else. I love what Jim Hollis says. We are here to become more and more ourselves. I think a lot of times we get so caught up or maybe intimidated by fulfilling our purpose in life. That sounds like such a grand and lofty statement, and it sounds glorious, right? I want to fulfill my purpose in life. I want to find my why. I want to identify my God-given purpose and calling. I want to write my mission statement. Those things sound so good and so glorious, but sometimes that can be intimidating, right? What if you're that person that's like, I don't really know how to write my mission statement, or I don't feel like my purpose sounds all that good compared to what some other people might feel called to do. And so let me just encourage you to throw that out the window, right? Fulfilling your purpose really just comes down to making a difference. And sometimes it's big ways and sometimes it's small ways, but we can start right where we are. Your purpose is the 1-sentence summary of how you change the world. Maybe the whole world, or maybe just your corner of it. But you get to decide every day how to live that out. And you can start right where you are. Every woman who got to where she is started from where she was. If you're working as a receptionist and you want to be a business owner or an entrepreneur or a CEO, start by being the best receptionist you can be. There are going to be people in your life who remember how you handled being a receptionist. And you want to be remembered for the character of the person who took small responsibilities just as serious as big ones. If you're a stay-at-home mom, start by making every single day an opportunity and a gift to intentionally grow and develop your child, right? Prepare yourself well so you can prepare other people well and set the example of being positive and proactive. That's making a difference in the life of someone else, even as, there's no such thing as even if you're a stay-at-home mom, but if you are a stay-at-home mom, right, that's just as much potential to impact the world through what you do and your actions. And there's no purpose. There's not a hierarchy on purpose and calling. Whatever God calls us to do is the grandest thing that He created us for. right? There's not a hierarchy on it. There's no such thing of as my purpose isn't as good or my calling isn't as great as somebody's or not as lofty or feeling down on ourselves because we don't touch as many lives. No, throw that out the window. If God called you to do something, you be the best in the world at it. Rick Warren reminds us humans were made to have meaning. Without purpose, life is meaningless. A meaningless life is a life without hope or significance. Because when we make a difference in the life of someone else, a positive difference, we find meaning and enrichment for our own life. And as you focus on developing your character and developing your influence, you won't have to think as much about what to do. It just simply becomes a part of who you are because you value doing it and you do it every single day. My friend, an author, Tom Telesco, has a great quote that I love. I'm going to share this. He says, "We all have the power to help many people, but do we have the courage to start with one?" Right? Sometimes that's the only place you can start, but that's where you start, is you just start making a difference. Um, I want to just, add a word of caution here. Make a difference in your lane and your purpose and your calling, but make sure it's also in alignment with your strengths because your calling and your purpose and what you're called to do is going to be in alignment with your strengths, right? Making a difference, truly making an impact is going to come from a place of living out those strengths and those gifts that you're called to do and gifted with. So for example, uh, there are some things that we are good at that we're not necessarily great at, or maybe we're pretty good at them, but it's not in alignment with what we're called to do. And so time spent there is time taken away from our true calling. And that's a hard thing to realize. But make sure that you're staying in the boundaries of the things that you are strong at. For example, I love to add value to people. But there are some things that I'm not really great at, that I'm not the best person to do. Now, it feels good to help people, but I'm not the best person for it. For example, I realized, it's been several years ago, I met someone and they invited me to do a community fundraiser. And the whole concept was basically a Dancing with the Stars, but on a community level. So they had a dance team in our local community, and they would pair up one of the dance team members with, someone who was a recognized person in our community. And they would learn a dance or a routine. And then, after a couple of months of practice, they would have one night where they would invite people and they would sell tickets and ask for sponsorships, and you would perform your dance. And the proceeds were given to a couple of well-deserved charities in our community. And it was fun. It was interesting. It was, it was different. But when the person called and invited me, I was very clear up front. I said, look, I'm happy to contribute some time here and learn the dance routine. I can do that. But I'm not gifted or good or even really interested in calling up people I don't know or pushing people to buy tickets or fundraising through that. I said, where I can contribute here is giving you an hour a week to learn a dance routine. And the other part of that is we had just moved to this community, so I really didn't even have a lot of people or connections in the community. And so I was upfront with that, very upfront with that at the very beginning. I said, look, if you just absolutely need another warm body who can learn a dance routine to make the evening a success, I'm more than happy to contribute, right? That's in alignment with something that I can do. And for me, it kind of fit into the category of exercise. So it was in alignment with some of my personal goals. But I had to be very clear of I'm not going to spend a lot of time, selling tickets to my connections in the community because I don't really have them, number one, but it's not my strength. I'm not that person who's going to cold call people or push on social media, hey, buy these tickets, buy these tickets. I'm just not. It's not my strength. It's not my gift. And so I had to be clear on that so that I could be clear with them up front. I didn't want to set a false expectation that I can't add value to you in selling thousands and thousands of dollars of tickets. That's just not me, and it's not my strength. And if that's not a fit for what you're looking for, that's okay. We'll agree to, if it's not a win-win, we both agree there's no deal, right? So be careful. When you think about all of the ways that you can spend your time and energy, yes, it's a great thing to make a positive difference for other people. But you can only do that best from your areas of strength and your areas of calling. And sometimes when you say no to those opportunities, that gives you the space to say yes to the best things, right? So don't say yes to an opportunity that really isn't in alignment with that. You absolutely want to make a difference, but you can do that best in your areas of strengths and talents and your God-given calling. So, if you want to help, if you want to add value to someone by teaching them to do math, that's great and that's a noble aspiration. But if you're not good at math, you're not the best person to teach them math. And so if you say, yes, I'll help you with your math homework, number one, you're probably not serving them as well because you're not the best person to do it. And number two, you're not serving your calling well because you're not the best person to do it. So I like to think of this as from the perspective like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I've touched on this before. Maslow's hierarchy of needs begins at the bottom with basic needs, food, water, and shelter, and it progresses up at the top. The top level of the hierarchy is self-actualization, which is a fancy way of saying being the best person that you were destined to and created to be. And only after each level of the hierarchy has been satisfied is it possible to move up another level. So the way I like to frame this is it's difficult or maybe it's impossible to reach your God-given potential if you are scrambling every single day to find food and a place to sleep this night, right? Because you're focused on those low-level priorities. You're focused on food, water, and shelter and safety. You're not worried about developing into your potential. You got to find something to eat. So it's simply a matter of not being able to direct any creative energy toward fulfilling your calling because you're directing all of your energy toward fulfilling basic needs. So energy might never be lost, but time definitely is, and your time and energy is limited. Now, I know since you're listening to this podcast, you're probably not literally scrambling to find dinner tonight. But figuratively, when we are unable to execute on the small daily disciplines, we're unable to fulfill the higher calling in our lives. And a lot of times this comes down to saying no to the things that don't fit us best and saying yes in order to have time and space and energy to say yes to the things that do. That's why leading yourself well is the key to being able to influence others. Because when you lead yourself well, you earn the right to influence other people. And that's where we see our freedom and our ability to add value to others becomes such an incredible possibility. But we have to begin with ourselves. Making a difference in the life of someone else means first I have to lead me well. I have to take care of my physical health. I have to take care of my personal growth and development. I have to take care of, I have to take care of me first before I can take care of someone else. We absolutely have to make a difference, and we want to make a difference. But we can't teach anyone else to climb Mount Everest until we've been to the top. And so a lot of times leadership comes down to personal leadership first, right? That's the key to being able to increase influence and leverage that in order to make a difference in the life of someone else. So I want to just finish up this little episode with a quote from Hal Elrod. And he says, remember that who you're becoming is far more important than what you're doing. And yet it is what you're doing that is determining who you're becoming. Oh, that's some powerful truth. in that quote. I'm going to share it again just because it is so powerful to reflect on. He says, "Remember that who you're becoming is far more important than what you're doing, and yet it is what you are doing that is determining who you're becoming." So what are you doing today that is determining who you're becoming? And how can you use that and build on that to make a positive difference in the life of someone else? We're going to talk about that more in the next 2 episodes in this series, which are the last 2 episodes in the series on this book. Until next time.